So hopefully you can pick this up on the camera well. One of the real advantages to coming to a beach, A, in daylight, but B, at low tide, like we have now. This is quite a big low tide as well, for Southbourne. Is you can actually see what's going on out there. Now, a lot of you will have heard myself and plenty of other people talking about like the sandbar at Sandbanks. Nope, not Sandbanks, try that again. Southbourne. Know your venues, Thomas. And this is a perfect opportunity to point this out. Because it's low tide, what little waves there is at the moment are breaking over the top of the sandbar. Hopefully you can see that quite clearly. And this really accentuates the deeper gully on the inside of the bar, where there's always plenty of fish. And then the possibility of casting over the top of the bar. Now at the moment, if I walk down to the water's edge, that's probably not much more than about 30-40 yards out. By the time we've come up to here at sort of high tide, at this particular spot of Southbourne, it's probably not much more than about 60-70 yards. So casting over the top of that is actually quite realistic for most of us, but you've always got fish on the inside as well. The reason why I've stopped at this little spot here is if I just pan to the left slightly, the bay next to me is very, very, very shallow. So the beach is more or less joined up with the sandbar. Hopefully you can see that. I could actually probably walk out onto that sandbar. And then just on the right hand side, just on my side of that there, is all of a sudden the gully sort of, I was going to say starts, but actually where the gully ends. So where we have our natural longshore drift, which will go from west to east, or as you're looking at it now, from right to left. That'll carry sort of food and bits and bobs and snacks for food along this inside gully, and then it'll sort of settle in this deepish pool here, just before where it sort of shallows up and the sand comes up. So that is a classic fish holding feature. So although at high tide, you might look at this beach and think it's completely featureless, it really is feature there. It's well worth popping down to your local beach at low tide, just scanning around and having a look and see if you can pick up on these things. Right, I've taken a little walk out onto the flat sand bit in the next bay to my left, just to really hopefully show you. So this is all super shallow. There's our sandbar where that sort of waves are breaking, and it'll sort of drop off after that. If I scan round to the right where I am, you can see a sort of a deeper pool of water in between the sandbar on the left there and the beach on the right. Now that is a fish holding feature. Now if I come back this way a little bit, try and get my microphone cable out of the way. What I was talking about, so the waves are naturally coming towards me here, and even if you look down in the water here, now although that's not necessarily fish food, that's probably just bits of seaweed and bits of odds and ends stuff like that, but you can see clear as day. It's a great example of how things are getting washed along the beach, or along the sea floor, sorry, and they'll settle in this sort of area here in front of me, and that is going to draw fish in there. It's going to attract fish. It's quite fascinating seeing it this low. It's not often we get a load like this in Southbourne, a couple of times a year normally. Just going to have a little wander, shall we? We'll do some fishing in a minute, but I love walking through water as shallow as this on sandy beaches. It's amazing how often you'll see a little flatfish or something scooting away in no more than a few inches of water. Especially when the water's crystal clear like it is now. There you go, you can see the waves pushing all the food in towards me. Really low tides does give you the opportunity to pop out and inspect what's growing on the groins. Look at that lovely big bunch of mussels. That's a cracking bit of bait, that is. If I was fishing for place, which to be brutally honest, I'm not entirely sure why I'm not, but certainly in the next few weeks it'll be a full string pace season hopefully, but mussels are fantastic bait. They really are, don't ignore those. Right, before we get going with the fishing, a couple of little casting tips. Now, I didn't want to get too involved in doing casting tips and demonstrations on the videos too much, because it's a bit more of a sort of a one-to-one thing. It helps if you're sort of with somebody when you're trying to teach them to cast. That and the fact that I'm a rubbish casting instructor. I'm probably not a particularly great caster technically either, but I can cast far enough to catch fish, so I get by. Two things I want to show you really, kind of the same thing actually, is the position of my left hand at the I'm right-handed, by the way. If you're left-handed, please just translate accordingly. So I'm right-handed, so the position of my left hand at the start of the cast and the position of my left hand at the end of the cast. Okay? Now, a lot of people when they're casting will have their sort of left arm low and bent at the start, and all they're really doing is sort of pivoting the rod over a sort of a relatively static left hand. That's okay, it's going to get you in the sea, but it's not going to get you any distance. What you want to try and learn is your left arm straight and up at the start of the cast, and as you come round in the cast, you're pulling your left hand in to your body whilst punching your right hand up, sort of almost sledgehammer-esque. Now that's where you're going to start getting your sort of distance and the power in your cast. When you first start doing that, I can guarantee you, if you're, as we all are when we start casting, if you're one of those people who does a lazy left low hand, it'll feel really unnatural and horrible getting that left arm out and straight. Persevere, just practice, 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 and the rewards will come. So, I'm not going to labour this too much, because I want to go fishing, and like I said, this is not a casting demonstration video. Just watch my left arm, where it is at the start and where it is at the end, and then I'll come back and explain. And hopefully you can see this. I'm losing light rapidly, but hopefully you can see it. So, let's not go too much into it actually. My left arm, kind of around about head height at the start of the cast, and it's straight, okay? I'm just going to go through a cast and show you where it finishes, okay? I'm just popping my lead out there on the sand. So I'm straight. And there is where you want to be finishing. I'll just stop that so I don't have to build too much in. So when I finished, my left arm was up here, not down by my sort of left knee or left hip or anything like that. Up here's fine as well. Not so much across your body. That is one of those things that I fall into the habit of doing, really, I don't know why, lazy, sort of crossing my hands, but yeah, up here. What this is going to do is, as you bring your left arm into your body, you're going to be punching up with your right, so the power and energy is going in an upward direction, whereas if you're pulling it down, your left hand down by your left thigh, your right's then going to be coming over, and all of a sudden my energy is going in that direction. We obviously want the energy to be going in that direction, not that direction. I hope that makes sense. Let me just do one more quick cast and then we'll get some baits in the water. It's just practice. It really is. It's practice, practice, practice. Right, quick one because I know we're losing the light. This might not even come out, but there we go. Right, so lead on the beach, 3 o'clock. My weight is currently on my back foot, my right foot. I'm going to transfer it as I push up with my right, sort of onto the left. But don't worry about that for now. Worry about the left hand. Going to go like that. Yeah? Again, I'll just stop that. So learn to use your left. Unless you're left-handed, in which case learn to use your right. Before we get started with bait and stuff, one thing I'd like to add on to the back of that casting video, clip, montage, casting thing, whatever that was, is selection of rod is really important. I see so many people picking rods based on what tournament casters can do on the field with them. Those guys are, generally speaking, exceptionally strong, physical, big guys, you know, way above, they're using rods way above what I could use. I would never pick a super powerful field tournament rod because I want to try and cast distance. I'm picking rods that I know I can bend myself. I can actually physically use them to send my lead. So try to avoid buying a rod because a tournament caster can cast at 250 metres. Be honest with yourself, that's important. And pick a rod that you can physically bend, preferably use and try a few first if you can. I know that's not always an option, but have a chat with a few friends, different sort of like fishing buddies, whatever. Have a chat with your local tackle shop. Sometimes they have rods that you can try, and actually find a rod that you can actually use or physically bend. Just because it's super stiff doesn't mean you're going to cast it. In fact, quite the opposite. My Verit Syria there is a beautiful one. I love it to pieces. With 175 grams on, I can compress it relatively easily with my weedly little arms. And that means I'm going to send a bait out there to where the fish are feeding. If I had actually I'm not going to pick a brand because that'd be really unfair on the rods, but if I had a tournament casting rod, then I'm not going to cast anywhere near as far as I make, just because I can't compress the rod. My ability and my strength isn't good enough to cast the same sort of distances with that rod as it is with this one. So yeah, be honest with yourself, pick a rod that is suitable for your sort of physique and your ability. And potentially it might be much more enjoyable to fish with as well. But there we go, lesson learner. Right, back to the fishing. Or let's start the fishing. Rather predictably, I'm back down Southbourne Beach. Who would have thought? Sorry for the repetitiveness of my videos, but it is my local beach. It is 5 minutes from the shop, so usually I finish in the shop, grab my gear and come down here. And to be honest, this time of year it's going to be difficult to... Why don't other beach users give you sort of like space? It's got 50 yards of beach there, and that guy ran past me and nearly tripped over all my gear. It's not like I haven't got Venetia beacon lights. Anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah, so this time of year, so there's not going to be the most exciting videos, is there, in the coming months, because it is sort of, you know, when it's February at the end of the day. Oh, it's February, by the way. Welcome to February, everybody. January's done. Woo! That's one of the tough months done. So I thought my best chance of actually catching a fish that you guys might like to see and hopefully inspire you to go out and try to catch one as well is going to be a ray again. I know I seem to have done those to death a little bit, but hopefully in the next month or so we'll have some other fish showing some place, you know, right on the cusp of place season. They're already starting to catch them, Brighton, Cheswold, places like that. I know the boats out here have had a few already, so hopefully as the days get longer I might be able to snatch a little bit more daylight into my session and have a go for the place as well. But for now, we are down Southbourne Beach. I have my bar rigs, I have my sprats, my squid, my sand eel. You know the drill by now. I'm going to bait up, launch out, hopefully catch a ray, and relax and unwind. I always enjoy it down here. It's such a lovely venue. You saw the bit at the beginning of the video about the lay of the land and why I have the lay of the land. You know, the lay of the sandbar, and why I've chosen this particular spot. Hopefully you can learn something from that. Hopefully you'll think, I'm going to go down and have a little look at my venue at low water, see what I can find, see if you can figure out where those little fish holding features are. It doesn't have to be a lot, just like a little sort of undulation that might look like a plain boring sandy bit of beach to you, but because of the way sort of longshore drift is and the way the sandbars are, it could just be an end of a gully that gathers food and attracts fish in. So with that in mind, once the tide makes a little bit, we're going to be on dead low in about, wait a minute really, about sort of 20 minutes I think. So once the tide makes, but I'm probably going to put my first two out, and once the tide makes a little bit, I'm going to try one in that gully. Hopefully we'll have a little play on the inside and one on the outside. Hopefully that's away. Very exciting. Another good thing about tonight actually is the first time for seemingly ages, I think we seem to have had about 3 solid weeks of really high pressure, sort of northeasterly winds, really calm, that sort of thing, which has been lovely. It's been lovely to look at, and it's nice to see. And we've been lucky that we've had a relatively nice January. But that long period of settled weather, high pressure sort of thing, it did sort of take its toll on the fishing. The last couple of weeks haven't been as good as it was certainly November, December and that first week in January. So it did sort of quieten off, and we were sort of left scratching around for bits and bobs. Tonight, however, the wind's suddenly gone round. We've got a west-southwest, which is more or less coming along the beach, ever so slightly in at me from an angle. But a drop in pressure. It's dropping considerably from sort of around the sort of mid-1030s to, I think, around 1010, 11, I think it was. So that's giving me some real encouragement that there might be a few fishies out to feed tonight. One thing about being a fisherman is the more you fish, the more you become a weather expert. It's quite bizarre. There's an old saying, one of those old wives' tales that, like most old wives' tales, no, not like most old wives' tales are gobbledygooks, aren't they? But there's a lovely saying: when the wind is in the east, the fish bites least, and when the wind is in the west, the fish bites best. Now that sounds like a load of tosh, doesn't it? But actually, it's one of those ones that actually does bear fruit. There's a certain element of truth of it. Generally speaking, here, when the wind's in the east, it's A, freezing cold this time of year, but B, usually coincides with higher pressure, and generally speaking, the fish feed less in higher pressure. And when the wind's in the west, usually a bit of a low pressure coming through. Now, I'm not an expert enough to know if that's the same everywhere around the country and world, but certainly works for us down here. And it's only a generalisation. There's always rules. There's always times that the rules are broken. But yeah, so we've just gone from high pressure sort of norths and northeasts to a bit of a low pressure southwest, west-southwest. So fingers crossed. Let's find some fish. I'm not going to bore you to death with how to bait up with sprat and squid, because hopefully you've seen that already in my other videos. If you haven't, this is a great opportunity for me to say, go and check out my other videos. Whilst you're doing it, click the old like and subscribe button, please. It means a lot to me. Actually, I'll tell you what does mean a lot to me. It was the wonderful comments I've been having from my videos. Really, really bowled over with some of the positivity. It really has been great. I've really enjoyed doing these. So because of all the wonderful comments that I've been receiving, I shall endeavour to try and make sure I spend time doing more videos throughout the year. I know I say that now in January, February, which is my quietest 2 months, and when I'm running around like a blue-ass fly in the summer months, not having time to do anything. But no, I will genuinely try and take time to do more videos this year, because I really appreciated the wonderful comments and feedback that I'm getting from you guys, and it's great to meet some of you guys in the shop when you've been coming in as well. That's always good. I'm waffling. Stop waffling, Thomas. I'm going to bait up, cast out. I'll report back. Well, okay. What time did I say it was? 10 to 6, wasn't it, when I started? It is now 6 minutes past 6. Oh look, check that out. That was on my second rod. Whacked it out on the bar rig, over the top of the bar. Just thought I better start sorting my chest pack out, just in case to catch a fish, blah, 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 blah. Whoop. Straight round it went. A lovely fat female fish. So I'm actually going to put some numbers on it. I'm all excited, aren't I? I caught a fish. Alrighty. Come here, you beauty. We'll do it. Alright. There again. Let's not go with 3 ounces. We are on £7.4. I don't know if you can see that or not in the gloom, but what a start. Just a few minutes into my session. Absolutely beautiful female small-eyed ray. Like a gonads. Remember the gonads on the male rays on the other video? What a beauty. Right, let's get it back really quick. What a start to the session. 15, 20 minutes in, whatever. Well, about 3 minutes on my actual second cast. £7.4 ounce small-eyed. So happy with that. It was pretty sketchy actually, because I caught it over the top of that bar I showed you in the video earlier. It's dead low now. On the way in, when I was dragging the fish over the top of the bar, it can't have been much more than a few inches of water. So it was a real sort of grin and hope everything stays intact, sort of just dragging it across this sandbar. And then obviously once it came into the deeper water in front, it was good. And then it had a little flap and a playing up and down, that sort of thing. And that was exciting. I'm all excited like a kid now, aren't I? Oh, let's hope for more. Let's hope for more. Maybe that's a good sign. Rays quite often hang around in shoals, especially groups. What's the collective noun for a ray? Top trivia. Okay, answers in the comments below. What is the collective noun for a ray? A small-eyed ray specifically. If there isn't one, let's make one up. But anyway, that's enough boring English stuff. Yeah, if you do catch one, get your bait, quick as you can, back out to roughly the same spot, as close to the same spot as you can, because you often catch another one sort of almost straight away. That's what I've done. I had a quick show to the camera, quick way, straight back in, swam off beautifully, and bait straight back out there. No wasting time. Fingers crossed for more. It worked. Got the bait straight back out there, on the same spot, on the money. Boom. Check it out. I can't check it out because I tangled up. Hang on. Ruined that entire sketch. Ah, yeah. It's a whiting. Never mind. It's another fish, at least. 2 fish, 2 casts. So far, so good. Right. It is now 7:45. So I've just had an hour-and-a-half period of catching, waiting. Not loads, to be fair, I mean 4 or 5. But no more rays, sadly. I feel like I'm just sort of coming towards the end of my sort of favourite little bit of tide, that sort of low to the hour after low sort of period. I can't stay out too late tonight. I have lots to do very early tomorrow morning, so I'm going to give it another maybe 45 minutes till 8:30. There would be another good bit of tide, I think, in another couple of hours. We've got this sort of middle bit of the sort of run up now, and I think just before high and just on high, I think a really good chance again of race tonight, and I'm really tempted to stay. Ooh, stay fishing, get divorced. It's tough, isn't it? I think I'll go home. But no, I'll give it another 45 minutes. Fingers crossed something a little bit more exciting than a whiting comes along. Don't really care if it doesn't. It was a great start to the session. Cracking ray I've had, so no complaints from me. But there we go. That's my update. I'll keep you posted. Well, no more Raymondos, unfortunately. Started off with a bang and then whimpered out a little bit. But never mind. I thoroughly enjoyed the start to February I've had. It's 8:20 now, so I'm just going to start packing down and get home nice and early. That'll keep the wife happy. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying earlier about old wives' tales and how some are gobbledygooks, some have some truth to them. One that us anglers do say quite a lot is never catch on your first cast. It always spells a quiet session. I wonder if that was true tonight. Well, anyway, whilst I mull that one over, I shall pack up and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Ciao for now.